All right, let's answer this one. Zach in Phoenix, is it time to give up on Jeremy Maclin and stream a wide receiver 3? Well, I'm not sure what your answer is. I don't know if you did put your fist in the air.
I pumped my fist in the air because we have a preseason water bet on Jeremy Maclin. And I was wanting to know, where were those bets? I believe I bet that he would not get 1,000 yards. It was looking really bad for me early.
Yeah, you're probably going to win that.
Oof, that's
because he's at 583 right now.
Yeah, that's
how many games left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're probably going to win that. So he's going to have to put up a couple of those. He had an 8 for 141 earlier. He had an 11 for 148. But I think the reason this listener is writing in is because he had a goose egg, and then he had 3 for 35 and 3 for 17.
Yeah, at least on the 3 for 35, I believe he scored, which salvaged his day. But they are not using him the way that they used him.
The Denver game, they didn't need to, though.
That's true.
They just picked 4 interceptions. So I don't know if that last game should be your basis for streaming somebody else. In this upcoming game against San Diego, I think he's going to be okay. I think he's a wide receiver 2. That's where he'll end up in my rankings, a wide receiver 2 this week.
Yeah, this week against San Diego, not for me. For me,
he'll
probably end up.
Then that should absolutely be a water bet that he will end up in the top 24 this week.
I accept.
Water bet.
And the Maclin bets continue for all of time.
Hey, tell me, how many weeks has it been since he's had, let's say, 4 receptions in a game?
It's been 3 starts, it looks like.
No. Keep going.
4 starts?
4 starts, 5 weeks. I'm counting that by.
I noticed. I noticed you were. Okay, so it's been a little while. I expect him to be in the top 24 this week.
You're going to need that touchdown.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see. They are facing off against the Chargers. We'll find out.
Yep.
That is how the water bets work. And then one of us will spin the Wheel of Water.
With the Wheel of Water app that you can download for free right now on the Apple iTunes Store.
I love just shamelessly promoting it because it's not a...
we don't get anything from it.
Yeah, it's just a free app for everyone to use. And so what we get out of it is literally the visceral reaction to watching people videotape the Wheel of Water waterings and then just put them on Twitter with the hashtag Wheel of Water, and then we laugh a lot in the studio. You bring us joy.
There is not a day goes by in the studio that we don't look for that hashtag Wheel of Water.
I know.
And giggle as people around the country throw water on themselves or others.
Yes.
So
grab the app, and better yet, videotape it and post it so we can have happiness in our lives.
Yeah, it's more about our happiness.
Mike is in Disneyland. Jason and I personally need some joy.
My heart's growing bitter. Bitter.
Bitter.
Yeah.
All right. Zach, is that where I'm up to? No,
nope.
I'm up to, Drifter Uniball in Montreal.
Oh, bonjour.
There you go. Should I trade Chris Ivory for Randall Cobb?
No.
Also, he says he friggin' loves the show. Friggin'. And my son and I listen at half speed because it makes it sound like you guys are all drunk.
Well, I hope your son is 21 years or older. Let's see here. So this is obviously, normally when it's a running back for a wide receiver, the thing that comes out of my mouth is this is team dependent. But I don't think this is team dependent. I think almost no matter what, unless you've got Mark Ingram, Adrian Peterson, and Todd Gurley on your team as your other 3 running backs, I don't trade Chris Ivory for a middling wide receiver. So
that's me making sure that they understand in ultra slow-mo.
No. That's going to be just a mess. You got to say, don't do it. Please don't do it.
There you go.
When they're listening half speed, it'll just sound regular.
No, don't do that trade. All right, Zach in the Netherlands. Who should I start? Week 11. He needs 2 out of these 4 to start. Maclin against the Chargers, Brandon LaFell against the Bills, Devontae Adams against the Vikings, and A.J. Green against the Cardinals.
Well, we know that LaFell's going to be in there, right? Because that to me seems like the clear-cut number 1. You've got the injuries that are going to force more balls LaFell's way, the good matchup against the Bills. Pass D. Am I right there? Are you in
Absolutely.
on that? All right.
LaFell's the one guarantee here. I was very close to just saying LaFell Adams right away. I am a little on the fence, Maclin and Adams, and yes, A.J. Green's at the bottom. That seems silly, but it is. It's the case. So
LaFell.
LaFell and Adams is my 2 picks.
LaFell and Adams for you. Well, Maclin is clearly at the bottom of mine. With it being a full point PPR, it gives a little bit more room to me for Devontae Adams. I know that AJ Green is your sit of the week, but I'm still going to take AJ Green.
That's fine.
The Vikings defense has been very good. Devontae Adams has not. So I expect AJ to get 5 for 50, and then we're just hoping for that touchdown.
Yeah, and so I don't mind that. Jayco in Honolulu, Hawaii. Love you guys. With Edelman going down, I can start Amendola or Stevie Johnson.
Ooh.
Who's the better outlook for the rest of the season?
Man, that's a great question. I don't mean that as in like that is a question that I want to know the answer to. I have no answer to, Jayco, but I am excited to see who between Stevie Johnson and Amendola has a better rest of the season.
And honestly, Jason's that's the truth. We don't really know the workload for either guy. I mean, we haven't seen Stevie other than one game without Keenan Allen, and Amendola has been involved, but that offense kind of changes. If I had to bet on one, I think I'm betting on Amendola.
Me too. I would bet on Amendola.
I'm very in between.
Here's the way that I break it down, and I believe I will be right in this. Stevie Johnson is going to have a more consistent floor. I can't imagine a game where Stevie Johnson goes out and only gets 4 points because game flow didn't work his direction. He's going to be a heavily targeted, but not a whole lot of yards per target type of guy. And he'll be useful. He'll be in your lineup as a flex and be okay. Amendola,
so it's touchdowns to you. It's the potential for touchdowns
for
that's
him.
The difference?
Yeah, but for Amendola, I could see games where Amendola still finishes with 4 points, 2 points. But Amendola's upside is just clearly so much higher because of Tom Brady, because of that offense.
I just don't want to oversell Amendola because they could bring somebody else into the mix. Keyshawn Martin or Scott Chandler could get more involved, or all of a sudden James White. It's just I want to temper that. I'm really on the fence. I don't know the answer. That's the truth. We don't know the answer to that question.
If you want upside, go Amendola. If you just need a consistent
That's
third
fair.
option,
That's
go
very
Stevie,
fair. That's
Stevie
very
Johnson.
fair. Johnny in Australia. Hey, mates. Sitting 9-1, gearing up for the playoffs. Trade Justin Forsett for Mark Ingram straight up? Yeah. Do it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, Mark Ingram. You want Mark Ingram. He's got a great end-of-season schedule. He's more consistent. He's got goal line carries.
He's even catching passes as many as Justin Forsett has been in
as long as he's healthy. So, Drew in Saskatchewan.
Bonjour.
Yeah, these are all like...
We are an international show here.
I guess so, man. A lot of these are international. Where am I? Drew? All right, thank you for all you do. Listen to you every day. Use the advice. Need to pick a quarterback for the rest of the season. Is it Carson Palmer or is it Phillip Rivers?
As one of those guys has been playing great. One of those guys has been playing very poorly. And I'm going to take the one that's playing poorly because this is fantasy football, not real football.
And in fantasy football, Phillip Rivers gets to end the season. I don't know anymore.
You don't know?
I don't know anymore.
Well, let's.
I'm going to go Carson Palmer because
right.
Carson Palmer's shown that he's matchup proof. And Phillip Rivers, here's this face off. Kansas City's his next game. Okay. Then you have Jacksonville, Denver, Kansas City, Miami, Oakland.
So in the playoffs, you've got Kansas City
in Kansas City, Arrowhead.
Okay, that's
a brutal matchup.
Yeah, I don't love it. You've got Miami
and Oakland are fine.
And then what's Carson Palmer's playoff schedule? That's what I care about.
Palmer's playoff schedule is Minnesota, Philadelphia, and Green Bay. 2 of 3 at home.
Yeah, I'm going to take Phillip Rivers by a hair.
I'm going to take Palmer.
There you go.
Nothing to bet on there, really, but I
both
think
good options.
I've just seen enough from Palmer in big games now that I think he can do it.
I agree with the matchup proof. In fact, he has a better fantasy points per game against top half pass defenses than he does against the bottom half pass defenses.
Wow.
So there you go.
So
that just feeds to your point.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I mean, we've seen from Rivers that win or lose, he gets his numbers too. So I think both offenses are willing to sling the ball around. He just lost Keenan Allen, so I lean to the Carson side. Jason leans to the Rivers side, and you're probably okay with both. So Dwayne, last question here. Dwayne in Winnetka? I should have known that.
It's California.
California. After the past 2 weeks, how do you guys feel about the matchups with the Houston Texans going forward? They're starting to look like the defense everyone thought they'd be.
Are you saying that from the last week? Have they been good for multiple weeks here?
I believe they had didn't they have a very good game against Miami? Didn't I? Or maybe it wasn't Miami. That was the opposite. That was the game that they got boat raced. Who am I thinking about here?
They had a very bad game.
A terrible game against Miami.
Tennessee, they did actually have a pretty good game with. They only gave up
the last
6
two
points.
games, Tennessee and Cincinnati, they've been great. 6 points allowed in each game. This is coming off the Miami game where they gave up 44.
Here's the problem. Jadeveon Clowney should be back.
That's the problem?
Apparently that's the problem. He's been in and they haven't been quite as good. One of the things that I will say that we've noticed on film is that the secondary has very much improved. The secondary was just terrible, and they've gotten better as the season's gone on. So while I don't think that they are, the Texans that everybody wanted them to be, they have improved. They're definitely a streamable candidate. I wouldn't, stash them for the entire rest of season. They start the playoffs with New England and then Indianapolis, not exactly two games that you would usually want to start a defense against, but in the right matchup, you can absolutely start them.
I think that they're a very good rest of season defense, especially in the playoffs. How do you disagree with the Indianapolis game?
Well,
Divisional game?
Yeah, Andrew Luck should be back by then.
I don't know. I guess that's the part that I'm questioning, if he'll be back by then.
Well, that's 5 weeks away, so
yeah,
it's definitely in that range where he might not be.
I think that they are much better than what they had been in the season. I don't know if they're as good as they were the past 2 weeks. So, all right, that is it for today. Do you got anything to add, Jason?
No, the only thing we mentioned it yesterday, but we're starting to make sure that everybody that's playing right now, if you want to be in a really, really cool league next year with people who listen to the show, know what they're doing, are active, are involved, they do trades, they talk, you get a forum and you could chat with people and just have a fun time, build some relationships. We're going to be doing that over at jointhefoot.com. That's our community. That's where Andy, myself, and Mike always hang out, chat with people, building some good friendships over at jointhefoot.com.
Yep. So tomorrow we'll be back with our starts of the week, fantasy forecast, week number 11. We'll get you ready to go, and hopefully we'll have some great picks for you, help you win your league this week, win your game. Let's do it.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.